our topic of inquiry is asana, yogasana. And how does that fit into the larger yoga process? So let's be very clear from the beginning. There's a distinction between the term yoga and the term asana, and that they're often conflated in this day and age. And it's worth noting the actual differences or technical distinctions. So there's a number of definitions we could apply to yoga, and there's one kind of fundamental idea or principle that they all seem to point at or get to, and that's in pretty straightforward language, yoga is the union of, say, individuality, or our sense of individuality, the lived, very vivid appearance of individuality, and that of universality. So in universality, there's no this and that, no subject, no object, no this thing relative to that thing, and which are all defining characteristics of the individuated experience. I'm over here, Tadasana's over there, and Pasha's over there. There's a sense of separation around everything, as though I'm over here and the rest of the creation is doing other likely less important things that away, right? And hopefully they turn out in my favor, and that's a very common view on life and self and what we're trying to navigate. And yoga, on the other hand, is something of a dismantling of that distinction, of that assumption of separation. Like if you look very closely and then look very, very, very even closerly, you'll see that the grade, there's a kind of emergent grade of awareness that's less fractured, that's less fragmented, it's less this and that, right? There can be a broader view, right? So navigating all that is yoga, right? And asana literally means a seat. Like everyone here is perched in some form of asana or another. But what makes it an exercise in yoga, or how we orient asana towards yoga, is that there's a deliberate or conscious relationship to our particular seat or dynamic posture, as the case may be. It's not only the exterior pose, but how we're occupying the interior pose. So it kind of comes down to motive or motivation. How we occupy the interior pose that is characteristic of a yoga asana, right? So if our motivation is, like, even if we're crushing the most awesome handstand the room has ever seen, right there, shining in all your glory, look at me, right? That is far less of an exercise in yogasana than someone who's bending their knees and struggling to touch their toes, right? If it provided the forward, the toe reaching person is conscious and aware and centered in what they're doing. Right? That's the hallmark of the yoga process. And if that gets stripped out for whatever, in part that's why this room is so bare, and we're not facing the mirrors, and there is no soundtrack to go along class, because you are the soundtrack that you need to be paying the most attention to, right? So yogasana is both exterior and interior. And according to the Hatha Yoga text, It's large, the orientation or kind of purpose. It doesn't say anything about flexibility. It talks a lot about energy management, energy management. So there's a particular manner of energy or quality of experience that's present in a forward fold that's distinct from, wheel pose or Nataraj asana, dancer, like that. So there's a particular signature to each posture that's pretty unique and can be used to interface with our person, with our sense of experience. That they can be used to help us live a more integrated life, basically. When we need to be up, we know where that switch is. When we need to bring it down, we know where that switch is by way of the yoga asana, right? And finally, yoga, the value of the postures is they make us steady. They make us steady. Patanjali said that they're what the fruit of yoga asana is that the pairs of opposites, so life's particular ups and downs, gain, loss, fame, infamy, etc., like that does not define you as a person or rattle you as a person or take you on some pendulum ride as a person. You're steady in the midst of all those particular comings and going, steady and acutely aware. Kind of back to this broader view. We're not steady because we're checked out. We're steady because we recognize the nature of that things indeed do come and they indeed do go, and it's not really personal. It's not. It's just the manner in which this place seems to be architected, right? So, but having some continuing work to deepen our perspective that way, right? So stability is a valuable hallmark in the process of yogasana, and where we'll lean in this evening.